So I just got back from seeing Alex Garland's newest film, and probably last, because if I remember correctly, he said that he was done directing. But that's neither here nor there. I got back from seeing Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza, because this is a dual directorial and written by thing, duo, and their new movie, sorry, Warfare. I'm still a little shaking a little bit, because it was okay, I'm just gonna come out of the gate and say it. This is a very, very, very good movie. Great. I will give this, if I was gonna score it, I'd give it closer to like an 8, maybe a 9 out of 10. It's not a perfect film by any means, but what it does and what it sets out to do, it executes it pretty flawlessly. So, what is Warfare about? Well, it follows a group of soldiers in the Middle East as they are quickly pinned down by enemy fire, and it is basically just that. It's about the situation of being pinned down by enemy fire and trying to think on your feet as your allies are wounded, and you are forced to figure out how you're going to get your team out of the situation by communicating with command and all that stuff. There's a lot of jargon, a military jargon that I just don't understand, as well as combat scenarios that I don't understand either. But what this film essentially is trying to do is put you in the shoes of these soldiers, which, by the way, this is based off of a very real event that happened. Because you're probably wondering, who is Ray Mendoza? Well, he's an actual former military veteran who's based this entire movie off of his experience. His character, himself, is in this movie, and we see the events unfolding around him. And it's a heavy movie at times. This is a movie that does not shy away from violence, and it doesn't calm down in the slightest. The first 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, are essentially build up. You spend time with these guys, and then they throw you directly into the shit. And like Dunkirk, because this is the closest movie I can compare this to is Dunkirk. This is about the experience of being in their shoes. So you don't really know who these characters are, and you get one or two names, but even then, so much happens that you forget who they're like. You forget their faces and you forget their names, and you just see a bunch of boys pinned down and not knowing what to do. But let's talk about the technical perspective of this movie, because this movie's greatest strengths are its technicality. Despite some of the shaky cam stuff, you still see the action, you still hear it, you still feel it, and everyone gives a very raw and very fucked performance in a good way, in a very, very good way. And there's so much to praise about this movie. It's written realistically, shot realistically, everyone acts realistically. This is about as close to a military movie in terms of realism that I've seen in a very, very long time. And everyone gives a phenomenal performance. However, you are going to get a little. I'm still hearing a little ringing in my ears. There's a lot of screaming and there's a loud gunfire. So, if that's not your thing, this movie won't be your thing either. And that's kind of why I can't necessarily give this a perfect score, because this movie sets out to do something and it does it well. But like I said, you won't know who any of these characters are. You won't know their names, their stories. There's no character development. There's nothing like that. This is moments. This is a moment in time for these guys and the shit they had to go through. So if you're looking for something deeply complex, like this is not Ex Machina. This is not Annihilation. This is not like an analysis with some deep meaning. Here's a moment in war, and we are going to put your ass directly into fucking shit, and you're going to understand what our boys went through. And it executes it flawlessly. So overall, I highly, highly, highly recommend this movie. Just for the sake of, the experience. I saw this at an early fan screening in an IMAX theater, and I gotta tell you, you see this movie on a big fucking screen because, with a big fucking screen, there's going to be big fucking speakers. And trust me, you're going to want those big fucking speakers. It is a wonderful experience, if not slightly traumatizing, that captures war in its most raw and realistic sense, that doesn't shy away from the truth. And that is, sometimes the people you expect to lead get shaken up too, and they can't take command. It's a very real situation. You may not need to know who these boys are, but you can kind of piece it together based on how they handle these situations. And honestly, there are moments where if it was any other war movie, you'd be like, you fucking coward. But the way that it immerses you, into this situation, you can't help but understand and go, yeah, I don't care if your name actor here, not even I would be able to fucking handle this. It is a worthy experience. Sorry, I'm still, my blood's still pumping, Oh, that's right. I didn't even mention the editing. This movie without the credits is close to about 82, maybe 83, somewhere in the 80s in terms of like runtime, 80 minutes, with maybe 8 or 9, 10 minutes of credits. This is like a very short movie, but here's the thing. It flows so quickly and so rapidly that by the end of it, you just feel like you're, and then you look at your watch and you realize only an hour has passed. It does its job. Don't get me wrong. It never once feels like it goes on for too long, and it never once feels, unnecessary. This is a truly well-crafted movie, and I am very glad I got to see it. Anyway, go see Warfare. That's what I have to say about it. See ya.